Now, when it comes to building outstanding teams, I still remember we having this conversation where one of our clients, they sounded upset because nobody was picking up their incentive tab, which they used to process on the 15th of every month, and the salaries were going on the 31st, but on the 15th, when they are scheduled to pay out the incentives, um, not many were throwing the ring at the incentive, and that usually isn't a great scene for the organization. Great. So, what transpired, and can you just give a little more context of that? Because they were building an outstanding team, but the things were falling off somewhere because the incentives were not getting picked up. So it was not reflecting on the performance.
Yeah, so this is a classic issue with most Indian organizations. All they want to create a sales team, for example, where only 50% is the fixed component and 50% is the variable component based on performance. And guess what? Nobody, kind of agrees to that. They want at least, what they negotiate for is that whatever it is that I want, that has to be fixed. Now you can put whatever variable you want on top of that, 20%, 100%, doesn't matter to me, but this is what is the fixed that I want. And there is a reason for that. And that reason, and I think you had pointed out very rightly, it has to do with the Goldilocks zone. So I want you to kind of reflect on that after I add this piece. There's a very interesting um, concept in organizational behavior, which is called Vroom's valency theory. And what this theory says is that the effort that a person makes is directly proportional to the desirability of the outcome or the reward. And this effort is moderated by the probability of success.
Hmm.
So let me give you an example. If I was still in class 7 and I was given a reward for, so my dad promised me a new bicycle, if I scored 100% in mathematics. I wouldn't, I know that, however hard I work, there is no way that I'm going to be able to score 100% because the probability is not there. It's not my hard work that is going to translate into, though the desirability of the reward is very high, but the probability of success is very low. So I wouldn't even try. And so that's Room's balance theory. So Goldilocks zone.
Right. I mean, this reminds me of a story of there was this guy who was sitting on the beach and he stumbles upon the lamp, the golden lamp. He rubs it, and the genie comes out, and the genie comes and says, "You have one wish to ask for." And the person says, he is in the Western Ghats, sitting in the Western Ghats of India. He has all the money in the world, but he says, I have all the money, but I have this phobia of flying, and I've always wanted to visit Dubai. So can you just build a road straight from the Western Ghat to Dubai and back so that I don't have to fly? So the genie said, "This is too much work. Can you ask for something else?" And he said, "Well, if not that, the second thing I can ask for is I've always struggled to understand my mom, my sister, and now also my wife. So can you just give me something, the superpower to help understand women?" And the genie responds saying, "So you want this lane to be single lane or double lane?" Right? So this uh, this ties up with the Goldilocks rule in a way, because the porridge is too hot, the porridge is too cold. If it's too hot, I don't eat it. It's too cold, I don't eat it. So the Goldilocks rule is to engage people around in the same region of their capability. If somebody is capable of 100, you challenge them to 110, not to a 705. And that's when people just give up, and then the two components that we're talking about, the fixed component and the incentive. I've had conversations where the team, they have managed to live within the means of their of the fixed salary, and they don't even plan for the incentives. It's because they say it's insane. It's not even the reign of possibility. I've heard responses is that market, we don't have a market that big for that to be achieved. So they say that it's been designed to discourage people. It's not designed for people to achieve. It's been designed just to rush people in and to prove people that they are in the bottom rung. So I think in order to build outstanding teams, it's important for the manager to understand the capability levels of each individual,
That's right.
and play in that zone, challenge them. But the challenge has to be broken down into pieces where they approach, they try, and as they say, throw people in the deep waters. If it's too deep, they don't come back onto the surface, and that's a loss for everybody involved. So I think that's the Goldilocks rule
Yeah.
that I wanted to talk about in today's episode. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the operational part. It has to be very practical. You can't give a target that's unachievable. But there is a conceptual part as well in building outstanding performance. And that part comes from somebody called Jambavan. Now, Jambavan in our mythology is a Chirayu, is, lives forever. And he played a very important role in Ram's army. He was Ram's general. And there comes an occasion where so they've reached the seashore. They don't know how to cross the sea. All of them are sitting down and in despair, which is when Jambavan approaches Hanuman and whispers to him, Hanuman, you do not know what you're truly capable of. Sit in meditation and remember what your true powers are. And so Hanuman sits down in meditation and he remembers his powers, and then takes the Virat Roop, and then the story moves. So managers have to play the role of Jambavan, while practically what incentives you set up has to be in the Goldilocks zone. But what you're helping people aspire to is to become superstars. And in fact, the best mechanism to do that is what is called the STAR framework, the way that you give feedback to your team members. So every time you have to give feedback on a task, you start with situation, task, then what were the actions that were undertaken, and then what were the results. So very simple framework. And then if the person has not been able to meet the expectations, then you all now discuss another AR, that is alternative, alternative actions and alternative
Alternative results.
results. So that's star AR. If the person has done really well, again you do a star AR, which is additional actions and additional results. What better could be done next time? Or in this situation itself, what else can we do right now that can make this result really outstanding? So the way that managers build high performing teams is by helping build superstars. In the short term, in the operating, measure, you make people stretch to a Goldilocks zone. But in the long term, you help them understand what the gifts are, what the capabilities are, help them build it, help them shine. So that's key to building high performance teams.
Right. So I think as we close this session today, I think the realization is very clear. In order to build high performing teams, there are quite a few things that not just the managers but even teammates need to be very clearly aware of. Because it's not just the manager's prerogative to create the psychological safety for the team, because they're not around every time. I mean, it's the team members. It's one for the other. So the psychological safety is in the hands of the team, and they need to take in control and create that net for everybody. And I think the way we speak is important, and being aware of what we're saying. Is it kind enough? I think is it really important? Is it really creating an impact? That assessment filter is extremely important. And and while we talk about unleashing the strength that each individual has, um, it's important to challenge at a level where people participate.
Yeah.
But yes, the challenge is important, because that's when people realize that, fine, I know I'm part of the next league, because that's what I'm capable of. So the constant challenging is important. Without it's I mean, one the only analogy I can think of is to 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 cut a tree, you chop it. While pruning also, we chop it, but we only chop it as much so that it can come back stronger, better, in terms of what it can. But you chop it way too much, and then it just perishes. So it's about that fine balance that people and the managers and maybe organization, the leadership as a practice, needs to find, so that people feel that they are nurtured, they're taken care of, and then they are able to perform. Anything to add before we close, Chief?
One last thing to add, and wonderful, you reminded me of that. Uh, the thing to add here is autonomy, enabling, empowering your team members. There is this there's this dynamic demand strain model of a job, and if you're doing work that is very complex, and most of the work that is being done in the new economy is extremely complex. Every situation is different. The dynamics are there in every situation, and you have to think a lot before you go ahead and do something. And if you do not have the decision autonomy, if you don't have the resource autonomy, if you cannot get all the things that you need to be able to successfully execute your task or your project, then you'll come under enormous strain. And the only way that this strain doesn't become a residual strain and causes a lot of physical ailments and psychological ailments is when you're given a lot of autonomy and support. And this comes from the reporting manager, this comes from the team, so that you are able to take on new challenges and you enjoy them even when they're stretching you, because you are building a kind of a feeling of mastery. You're enjoying being able to become good at something. And that's an intrinsic motivation. We all want to do a good job and feel good about doing a good job. And so this zone is what is called the active learning zone. The amount of learning that is happening, even though you're working very hard and you're stretched, but you're enjoying it because you're learning something new, you're feeling that you mastered this, and so you want more of it. And so great managers understand this, and they help create all the empowerment, all the resources, all the support that a team member needs to be able to execute and succeed rather than fail. And so that's another piece. I think that's very important.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Chief. Lovely talking to you as always. And for the next sessions, the next few sessions, we're going to be picking up some very interesting frameworks for humans of HR to pick up, run, try, and also reach out to us in case they have found success, in case they haven't found success yet. And we're always there. We're just one text away. So once again, thank you to all of you who've been supporting us. And as I always say, please do hit the like and subscribe and share button, so that we reach out to more people, because the idea is to build a community that believes in the essence of HR, and helps organization reach their absolute potential. So thank you once again, Chief. Lovely talking to you. And till the next episode, thank you. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye bye.